What's going on YouTube? This is the Dart Lord Destro. It's been probably over a year and a half since I made a real talk session on here. And I want to speak on the Colin Kaepernick situation. I wish I had this stuff written down. I might just redo this whole thing and have it all nice and written down so I can articulate what I want to say for y'all to understand my perspective. It's, how can I say it? I look at it from different sides. Most people are for Colin Kaepernick. Well, I'm sorry, some people are for Colin Kaepernick. Some are against him. Some support him for taking a knee, for not pledging the allegiance to the national anthem, to the American flag. Others look at him as an abomination. He's done the worst thing in the world. He's worse than any psychotic killer, any rapist ever, because he disrespected the American flag. I mean, me as a 40-year-old black man, I have my thoughts and I have my views on what it should be, and or how I feel about the situation, and I like to share with them. I know I'll probably be called various names, but it is what it is. To let you know, I do support his stance. He feels that, there is a systemic issue as it pertains to police brutality and the oppression of black folks, which I agree. There are a lot of systemic issues that are going on in this country and has continued on, and it seems like nothing is being done. Now, I will say this, and people who have read my post on Facebook will tell you, I do not believe in protest. I look at it as a form of begging your masters / oppressors for acceptance. To me, you can't beg psychopaths and degenerates that run this country. You cannot beg them to love you, to accept you, because they don't. They're worried about power and they're worried about money. They're not concerned with your well-being or your family's well-being. They want to suck the blood out of you and your loved ones. So therefore, why would you go and beg these people? What Colin Kaepernick is doing, he said he's taking a knee and he's letting people know, look, I'm bringing the attention of the ills of what's going on in this country. That is great. The issue is people they either deny it or they don't acknowledge it. But regardless, they know what's going on. They know the police brutality is an issue. They know that black folks are treated differently, not just by the police, but just through economics, through getting loans, getting loans for businesses, getting loans for homes, getting jobs, etc. and etc. They know this, but they'll deny this. And so, to me, the way I look at it is look, okay, you're taking a knee, fine. But Colin Kaepernick, I need to know what your end game is. I need to know what you want to do to change things. Because to me, taking a knee is great, but then there's got to be some action behind the stance. I'm not saying he's not doing anything. I'm saying he's donating to Somalia, but in little charitable things. But I need to know what exactly are you going to do for the betterment of black folks in America. To me, I look at it as, look, I'm not trying to beg anybody for acceptance. I don't want to hug. Look, there's going to be people from other races. They're going to look at us as, you know what, we're a bunch of thugs, we're a bunch of hoodlums, etc., etc. We can't change those people. I'm not in the business of changing those people. What I want to do is start our own, create our own. This is not trying to sound like I'm some type of separatist, but I look at the Asian community. The average Asian is doing better than the average so-called white person. They are a tight-knit community. They have gathered their funds together. I was told by a few people who live in New York City that the Asian community pays the New York City police to guard their banks. So what does that tell you? That tells me, okay, if we get the economic growth together, if we can form an alliance, form a committee within ourselves, then we can control the bank, the police force. We control politicians. We put money in their pockets and they will do our bidding. Dr. Claude Anderson spoke on that with group economics. I've seen a lot of his videos on YouTube. He speaks on this very subject to where, black folks, we generate the wealth amongst ourselves, and so that we pay off these politicians, we pay off these police officers to where it leaves alone. Because here's the thing. We have to understand that the reason why the police pick on us, do things to us, is because they know that they can get away with it for the majority of the time. You're not going to have a police officer go to Baltimore County, let's say Reisterstown, to whatever big, for all I know, they have a big Jewish population. He's not going to go to Reisterstown and pick on a Jewish kid. Why won't he do that? You know why? That Jewish kid might have some weed on him, got some brew, or got something illegal going on. But you know why he's not going to pick on that Jewish kid? Because there's a high chance that Jewish kid's father is well connected. He might be a lawyer or a businessman or a important politician in Baltimore City. And if he does mess with that kid, he knows that he's going to face repercussions from that kid's father. He might lose his job, or he might be severely reprimanded. So he's not going to do that. You've got Russian mob all over the country, mainly on the West Coast. You see them in D.C. too. But you don't hear about the Russian mob getting shook up by the police. Why is that? Because they don't want that drama. They don't want to deal with that thing. It's the same thing. It's like with black folks. They know that the chances of us having an important parent in law enforcement or in the business community or in politics is slim to none. So it's like, you know what? We can pick on these poor black folks because why? They ain't gonna do anything to us. What can they do? What can they do? I'm not gonna lose my job, as you can see with the Philando Castile case in Minnesota. The man just, I'm scared. I was afraid of my life. Bam, bam. Shot the guy in his car with the kids and this girl in the car and whatnot. And as you can see, with footage, with evidence, and still get off. And then recently you have Donald Trump, that fool, that clown, that Illuminati controlled puppet. I like to add on to that. He's going to add on. He's going to talk about, you got to rough him up, put him in a paddy wagon and all that stuff. See, so we have a president who's encouraging that stuff. So the key is, what do we do? And I should write all this stuff down so I can be able to come across this video and explain it thoroughly for you all. But the main thing is, I think that communities, mainly black folks, have to, you got to build together and basically, I'll always say, create your own crew, create your own group. So like I said before, then you'll be able to pay these politicians, then you'll be able to pay these police officers. They won't pick on you as much. They'll be reluctant to do that if they don't. They'll be reluctant to do it they'll be reluctant not to do it because, hey, you're putting money in their pocket. You go back to before the FBI, they were called a G-Man, J. Edgar Hoover. He had those guys, and they didn't go after the mob for the longest time. Why didn't they go after the mob? Because, he didn't have the resources to go up against the mob. He's getting his G-Man. He's recruiting guys from like Idaho, Iowa, the Midwest. What do they know about organized crime in New York City, Detroit, and Chicago? They won't be able to fit in. They will get slaughtered. So he knew, J. Edgar Hoover knew not to send his G-men after the mob. So he had to go after other folks, mainly black folks, because why? We didn't have the connections to fight against, the G-men / FBI, And I just think that you black folks must have, and which Chronicles of Judah 144, you should check his YouTube channel out. He always says it all the time. You must have a ruling class mentality. You have to understand, your you have to understand the situation. Okay, you can go to City Hall, you can go to whoever, you can beg all you want to. Nothing is going to change. Okay, you can protest. As you can see, protesting does little to no change. Protesting is as useless as masturbation, wasting your seed on your bed sheets. Okay? And so you have to understand this. Okay? Develop a ruling class mentality. And that's what I've learned from him. And basically, I've been going towards that. I didn't have a term for it. Because, like I said before, I understand what the situation is. I understand you can't beg people for things. There's a line from if you go to the movie, I'm stuttering and I'm tired. I apologize. I shouldn't make this video. There's a movie called The Departed by Jack Nicholson. And basically what he says is, and I can't remember word for word, verbatim, but basically what he's saying is that, the Irish, they could barely get a job, and then eventually they was able to become the president of the United States. They started from nothing from the top. The Guineas, they were some hardcore guys, but he respected them. And then toward the very end of that opening dialogue, he says that that black people, of course he called them niggers. He said what they don't understand is things people don't give things to them. You got to take them. And that is what it is. We have to go after and take it. We can't beg people to treat us with respect. You must take it. Take respect. And then gain power. And then from that point, they will be able to respect you. They will have no other choice but respect you. See, people understand power. See, one thing I've noticed, and I had this issue a lot too, and I couldn't figure it out for the longest time. Like about a year or two ago, during the Baltimore riots, on my Facebook page, I was speaking about the Baltimore riots, and I was talking about how, people, and I'm just going to be honest with you, predominantly white people, they were going at me. But then when it comes to the Aryan Nation or skinheads, they wouldn't go hard against them, but they would go hard against me for speaking against systemic racism. And this ties into what I see people online. They always say, Jews, they talk about the Holocaust all the time. They bring it up. But no one ever tells them to get over it or stop talking about it and this and that and the third. Well, I'm here to just be honest with you. The reason why that white people don't go in on the Jews as they do us, because we don't have the power. Jews have the power. They're 2-3% of the population, yet they own 90% of the banks. Who do you think the Rothschilds are? Who do you think the Rockefellers are? Who owns the media, the outlets? And so people recognize power, and they're not going to bite the hand that feeds you. So they can tell you, black man, they can say, you know what, you're nothing. I can tell you what to do. You get over it. Stop playing the race card, etc., etc., etc. But they won't ever tell that to a Jewish person, because they know if they say it to a Jewish person, the very few times that they do, then they will get the anti-Semite or anti-Semitism tag. And if you don't believe me, ask Mel Gibson and ask Charlie Sheen. What happens when you say something against Jewish people? It's basically career suicide. I said this also on my Facebook page. When Riley Cooper, notice on his in that situation too, where he was at a country western concert, talking about, I can't remember exact word, basically saying, I'll take on every nigger in here in this place. You notice that He was dismissed for a few days, but then he was able to play a season. And just imagine had he said something about Jewish people. He wouldn't be on the team. He wouldn't be in the NFL. That dude be somewhere in a back alley selling lemonade in a corner or something. And that's just the way it is. That's just reality. And it's irrefutable. And so that's why I tell black folks is that if you want things to change, it's got to start with us. We can't beg other folks from the outside to help us out. I mean, if they can, they want to, but it's got to start within us. We have to build a strong knit community. We don't have to reinvent the wheel here. All you do is look what the Asian people are doing, look what the Russians are doing, the Irish are doing. It has nothing to do with being segregated or anything, anti this, anti that. It's just all about having unity to where now is at the point to where we have to protect ourselves because, other races do it. I don't see why we can't, Our black women, they spend $9 to $10 billion in the fake hair industry. We can use half of that money or 2% of that money towards, building communities up. You have your own brand new black Wall Streets and have black owned businesses, and to where people won't even have to, our children will have to, have to apply for federal aid or financial aid to go to school. They just go to the elders of the family or go to the elders of the community and say, hey, this is what I want to do when I go to college. And we just write the check and say, here you go. Make sure you bring it back straight A's or whatever requirements that's needed. Bring it back. We cut your check. There you go. And go to school, young man, young woman. I'm just saying, I don't have all the answers, So it's the Dark Lord Destro. I'm out. And I know I kind of went off a little bit, but, this Colin Kaepernick thing, I look at it from many angles. Yes, he is better than 8 or 9 quarterbacks in NFL. Yes, he went to the Super Bowl and he went to the NFC Championship game twice. Yes, his QB rating was better than some starters. Yes, he didn't kill dogs. He didn't murder anybody. He didn't sell drugs. But the problem is the NFL owners don't want to sign him. For one, they got their own issues. They're looking at his afro, and they're probably looking at him and say, okay, he's probably some old militant black dude with communist ties. I'm just theorizing here. Remember, these aren't, young, hipster guys that own these teams. These are pretty much old 60, 70-plus white guys who own these teams. They can't relate to this, and they might have their own bigoted views. We can speculate. We don't know because they're not going to come out and just say it. That's bad for business. You think Jerry Jones going to come out and be like, I ain't signing that nigga? You think he's going to say that with all the black players on the team? I'm just saying. And not only that, but then you got the owner of the Baltimore Ravens who's kind of like, pussyfooting around, and he don't know if he want to sign him or not, this and that. I mean, then again, look at the fan base, because it is all about money. But you got to be honest with you. It's about money. If he signs that, they sign him, there's potential that fans may not come to the games. The ratings were down last season. Now, granted, I think part of that reason why is Kaepernick, and the other reason is because of, cable cutters. People don't want to drop all that money for cable. They're getting Fire Sticks now. They're finding other means, legal and illegal, to watch games. And so that's going to go against the ratings. They're getting tired of ESPN because, a lot of people say, they're all about pushing a liberal agenda, and they're not about sports, they're all about foolishness. And so they don't want to watch that. So all this plays into it. Colin Kaepernick, like it or not, he hurt their bottom line. And so you got to look at those things. They have the question, hey, if I sign this dude, is he going to be 110% about football, about my team? Can he help us win? You know, and some people just don't want the drama because we saw with Tim Tebow. And Tim Tebow, all he was doing was taking a knee and praying to his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And you saw the little backlash he got from that. And this is a so-called Christian country. People, hey, Jesus should be number one. Hey, Jesus is the man. But even then, people are like, man, I'm getting tired of this dude on his knees, giving shout-outs to Jesus every time he scored a touchdown, makes a big play. Some people just didn't like that, you know? And so, I don't know what else to say. It's, I'm not going to get into, the other stuff as to, what's the real motivation behind Colin Kaepernick. I mean, it's all speculation. I just think I support him. And the thing is, he's doing a peaceful protest. That's what it's all about. And to bring awareness to something, everyone has protests, for various reasons, many things. Me personally, I just don't think that protests do anything because, once again, you're begging psychopaths and degenerates who run this country, and the people who are behind them, they don't care. You're nothing to them. And so it's a Dark Lord Destro. You can leave your comments, thoughts, and everything on the bottom of the page. Talk to you later. Peace.